Our test code went off pretty well. Now let's wrap it in a little bit of abstraction so we don't have to use the Stripe library directly. First thing I will do is I'm going to create a brand new process, and I'm going to call it billing. And it'll just be billing.js. And then inside of here, I'm going to learn from my mistakes of the past and make sure that this is an instance that I can stub later on. We'll drop in an assertion here. We want to be sure that we have a Stripe key. If we don't have a Stripe key, then yes, this should fail. It won't work at all. Here, I'll just require the Stripe library directly inside the instance, and I'll pass along the Stripe key that was passed in. Next, I'll create 3 public methods that will allow me to work with the Stripe API as I need to. And right now, I can only think of 3 things that I'll want to do: create a subscription, cancel a subscription, and change a subscription. And notice that I'm using this. I'm making sure that these methods are accessible from the outside. Why? Because I'll want to stub them out. I want to be sure that I can create mocks for them, and I can't do that if they're private. Okay, let's take the code that we just wrote and pop it right here inside of create subscription. And we want to be sure that we have an email, name, and a plan provided. If we don't have that, well, this won't work. So here, what I can do is I can make sure that I have an assertion going once again. This will throw if I don't have that information, and that makes perfect sense. I'll then just reformat the stuff down below to use the arguments that are passed in, including the card itself. And then finally down below, I will just simply remove this callback and pass along the callback that was passed to this method. Great. So this is going to send everything off to Stripe. Now to test this out, I can go back to our stripe.js test page here, and instead of using the Stripe library directly, I'm going to call our billing process. And I should be able to use the exact same arguments down below. I'll new it up and I'll pass in the Stripe key that I was using before. That's this guy right here. And by the way, I will be changing that. It is a test key, so it doesn't really matter if you see it, but just want to tell you I will be changing it. Okay, so I'm going to say billing.create subscription, and I'll pass along this test data, including my name this time. And yeah, we'll give this code a run. I do want to be sure that it'll actually work and call off to Stripe. So I'm going to do this small little visual integration test, very rudimentary stuff, but I just want to be sure that it's going to work. And giving it a whirl. Nope. How many times in my life have I made this error? Forgot to export our billing module. There we go. All right, well, let's try this one more time. And success. Yes, I know this is a bit of a hacky integration test, but I just want to be sure that the code I just wrote actually works. Since I'm not covering integration testing in this course, I thought that, well, might as well just do this here. And now to be sure that the code I wrote actually works. I'm going to talk more about this in a bit. Okie dokie. So now what I want to do in my review process here is I actually want to have a method devoted to starting a subscription. So for that, I will need a payment processor. And I'm also going to need some payment information on the application itself. This should return a subscription object. That's what we'll do next.